I am Shanae. I am a speaking coach and brand strategist for speakers. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, speaker fam. Hey. And we are going to talk about three things you need before you get booked to speak. And so, of course, it's from my perspective. It's something that's easy to implement, but it will require for you to do some internal work. So let me put this phone that's not working on Instagram on vibrate so that it doesn't interrupt us. We've spent enough time. So I want to say thank you, thank you. Valerie says she agrees with Jeff Jacobs. Thank you guys. I wasn't even running for president. I appreciate it. President for speakers. You know, I'm with it. Put me on the ballot, okay? So yeah. So what I want to talk to y'all about is three things. So the first thing I'm going to just jump on in, okay? Dive on in. The first thing that you need to do is you need authenticity. Authenticity. Y'all can write that in the comments. Somebody write one, authenticity. And what that is really being authentic, really being true to you, really knowing who you are and giving everyone, the audience, your audiences, the true you, the authentic you. What I found is that there's a lot of speakers, they're speaking, they're building brands, they're launching businesses, they're doing this and that, but they're showing up as someone that they admire. So instead of showing up authentic, they're showing up as someone that they admire. They're mimicking and mirroring someone that they admire. And there's nothing wrong with admiring them, but it is something wrong with not showing up as you because you have a specific tribe, a specific audience, a specific group of people, a crowd that you are called to. And when you don't show up as you, they don't get who they need to be the solution to their problem. They get who you admire, and that's not you. Okay? And it's hard to show up as someone else and to continue to be them for a very long time. So if you think about, actors and actresses and they have to get in character, right? And they have to get in character. They learn how to stay in that character for the duration of recording, right? But they actually have it takes a lot from them to stay in character because with that character they have different feelings, they have a certain way that they move, they have a certain way that they talk, they might even have an accent, right? And so that's a lot to keep all together, okay? That is absolutely a lot to keep all together. It's easier to be you, believe it or not. And it might be scary to show up as the true you because you don't know if you're going to be rejected. You don't know how people are going to respond. But trust and believe you'll be able to upkeep that way longer than showing up as someone else. Y'all with me so far? Let me check the comments. Hey, Geneva. Hey, Geneva. Yes. Authenticity. Authenticity. That's number one. So that when you show up, you are not sounding like everybody else because your audience will respond to your sound. So that's why it's critical and it's key. A key element that I do when I work with my speaker clients is I help them to unlock their authentic voice because yeah, you've been speaking, yeah, you've been using your voice, but who do you sound like? Who do you sound like? Who have you been compared to? Did anyone ever say, oh, you know what? You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Elisa Nichols. You remind me of a E.T. You remind me of a Cheryl Wood. You remind me of a Tiffany the Budgetnista. Those are just some speakers that I absolutely like and enjoy, but I don't want to be compared to them. I don't want people to think of them when they hear my sound because my sound is original. And my audience, my tribe will respond to my sound. Right? Y'all with me so far? Now, before we go to number two, I want y'all to talk to me. Have you been authentic? Is there room for more authenticity? Is there room to show more of yourself and who you are? Are you still discovering who you are? Because, it's easier to say, oh, be authentic, but if you're still discovering who you are, that might be quite challenging, right? Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Talk to me. How are you guys showing up? Are you showing up authentic? Can you say that your authentic voice has been unlocked? Talk to me. Hey, Faith. So Faith says, this is really good, Ciara. I am still discovering who I am. Aw, that's okay, girl. That's okay. And you're gonna figure it out. I know you know that you're dope, but it's a beautiful thing to dig into our dopeness and discover more about us. Even me, every day we discover more about ourselves and we can become more like who we're becoming, right? More of who we are. We can come into that. That's a daily journey. But if you're a speaker, you should, for the most part, know your authentic voice, right? And so we're going to get into that. So I'm not even going to jump into that next thing because there's some things that are critical that put a stamp on your authentic voice and cause for people to begin to recognize, oh, that's Ciara, or that's something Ciara would say, or something she would talk about, right? So then Lala says, oh, you're so awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. Shout out to Lala. She's a part of the Speaker Goals tribe in the Speaker Goals Lounge. She is a social speaker over there. So I want you guys to go join us in there. Okay? And Valerie. There's a couple of y'all in here. Shout out to the tribe. And so Lala says, yes, not audibly. Okay. And so, you know what? Like, Lala is definitely an author. And that's something that's like ingrained in my mind. When I think of Lala, I think of books because she's been birthing a whole bunch of books. But what I wrote and what I said in Don't Muzzle Your Message, my workbook that's inside of the Speaker Goes Market, if you guys want to go get it, click the link on my bio. Go to Speak Goes Market, don't miss your message, right? And so inside of that, I talk about how authors are silent speakers. Because you're speaking, you're saying quite a lot. You are sharing a message, right? And so authors are silent speakers, as I like to call it. So for you to say not audibly, that's totally the first step. So now we just need to add a voice, right? We just need to add a sound to your words or to your sentences. So let's just add some sound to your sentences. All right? So that's why you're in the Speaker Goes Lounge. We're going to get you together, girl. Don't you worry. You're not alone in this. You're not alone. Okay? And so Valerie said, I like what you said. As we grow, we discover more. Yes, we do. We do. And especially I think you can definitely attest to that, being that you've been on this earth for quite a bit more than me. And if you think back over the years, you can say, oh, you know what, it's so true. But I think that it's very important for us to be intentional about a continuous discovery. We got to be intentional about that, because if we're not looking to find out more about ourselves, we won't find anything, right? So the Bible says, seeking you shall find. If we're not seeking within ourselves or trying to get to know ourselves, discover what more is in us, and seeking God, right? Because he can give revelation. Because he been talking, y'all. He been speaking to me. We speakers, but the Lord is a speaker too. He speaks. Okay? He's still speaking. As some people think he stopped speaking. No, the Lord still speaks, and he's speaking. And if we would just silence ourselves and give him the time that he needs and deserves and desires, then we would begin to be able to hear from him. But that's a whole nother talk for another day. But yeah, it's so true. So, 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 so true. Hey, Dante Quick. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Lauren. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So y'all ready for number 2? Y'all ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for number 2? All right, so we talked about authenticity. That's what you need before you get booked to speak. Don't be like every other speaker that's showing up as someone else or showing up as someone that they admire, but not their authentic self. Okay? Definitely want to do that. Number 2 is that you want to show up and you want to, before you get booked to speak, you need transparency. Okay? And a lot of speakers, they're like, no, I don't have to share that much of myself. You know, they're not here to hear about me. They're trying to see what they can get for themselves and how they can change their lives. They don't care about me. I don't need to go deep or go there or share that. But I'm here to tell you, you do. And you should, because that's what deepens. When you deepen your transparency, you also deepen the connection. You strengthen the connection with your audience. You build credibility. Although you are the expert, you're also not perfect, right? And they can see, okay, she's human just like me. She did that in spite of what she had to overcome, what she had to endure, the flaws that she possesses, right? And now I know I can too. Because as I'm discovering, I'm not only discovering my greatness, I'm also discovering my imperfections. And sometimes, because, again, I'm a recovering perfectionist, sometimes I allow that to get in the way. Maybe that's the same thing for you. You think that people got it all together. You think that people just jumped out of bed one day and looked at their bank account on the app and it just said 6 figures. You think they had it easy, that it was simple, and that it was voila, right? But when we begin to be transparent, we show the real side. See, it's so connected. Often, like some people, you can't be authentic without being transparent. You could be who you are, show up as who you are, and still withhold. I'm telling you to not withhold. I can't help but say the word withhold and not think about the word withholding nothing, withholding nothing. I surrender all to you, everything I give to you, withholding nothing, withholding nothing. Y'all can look that up. I think it's William McDowell, but it talks about like surrendering all, like surrender all of your pride, surrender all of your shame, surrender all of you just trying to show up perfect. So surrender your perfectionism and think about the connection with your audience. I truly say this all the time. I've been saying this for a couple of years and it still stands true in my book, that transparency heals. I said it yesterday at my speaking engagement. Transparency heals. Transparency heals. The more transparent you are, you begin to allow other people to go on their healing journey. You allow them to start their healing process because the things that they maybe have suppressed, you have now brought it to the surface, and now you force them to look at it rather than fight the idea or push it back or forget and ignore it. They now have to look at it. Yeah, I went through that too. And Geneva's here. I love that she shares her story about her business being birthed after or in the midst of her divorce. That is so inspiring, motivating, encouraging, empowering. Like, it's incredible. But you got to be transparent. If she was like, I ain't gonna talk about that. They don't even know about that. I'm just gonna tell them that I birthed the business, and that's how we show up authentic. Because truly, she birthed the business during a difficult time in her life. She could just say it like that. But then when you slap transparency on it, boom, you, you slap transparency on it. It just makes the whole thing different, even more powerful. That can impact women like never before. Because imagine if women are in her live or showing up to her speaking engagements and they are currently facing or processing a divorce and they feel like their life is over and they can't build anything because they feel like their whole world is falling apart. She's here to tell you that her business, the one that you're looking at now, the one that you love and adore, shout out to it. Go follow it on Instagram. I believe it's She's Equipped. Go check it out. Okay? She got equipped during that time. God equipped her with everything that she needed, with every good thing to perform every good work, right? You gotta be transparent. It makes a difference. So get comfortable with sharing those shameful stories before you share your success stories, because we all have success stories, but what about the ones that's not so pleasant, but it was a part of your process? Boo, sis, can we hear about that? Can you let us know that part though? And the funny thing is, because I was at the SpeakerCon this weekend, and I had a really good time, so go check that out, with Cheryl Wood. Yeah, and they were talking about like how to get into the press. And I don't remember who she was, and I would have definitely given her credit, but she was one of the speakers. I'm assuming she specialized in PR, public relations, but she was talking about how to get into the press. And she was like, and I quoted it, but I didn't know her name. But pretty much the press are looking for stories. But they're looking for a good, juicy, unheard of story. You know? They're looking for a story. The one that makes you say, whew, ha, I gotta listen to this. Right? And so it's a story about how you build a business while you're going through a divorce. You build a business where you feel like everything you once knew is falling apart. Right? And so that's why God's been shifting me. And He's like, tell your story. Like, be more transparent. So I started sharing with you guys in some of my posts about how I was bullied growing up in middle school. And a lot of it was like teasing. And so it's very verbal. A lot of what I endured was very verbal. Like, no one took my lunch money or pushed me against a locker or threw me in a garbage can. None of that, right? But it was very verbal. They spoke against my intelligence. They spoke against my maturity because I didn't run towards fights nor care to. They spoke against how my body was created by the Almighty. They spoke against my forehead. I talked about that. And I used to, for years, I hated my forehead. I hated it, and I hid it. Okay, for many, many, many years. Ponytail wear, I would have had a whole bang, y'all. They talked about my size. They used to say like I was in a 12-year-old body, stuff like just stuff, like because my body, I've been the same size. I don't know how many years, probably since middle school, high school. Like, hey, it is what it is, and I'm 29, 30 in February. But like that used to hurt me. Everyone else is developing still, and I'm just like, and developing. The women go through development, and I used to look at like my cousins, just the females in my family, and I was just like, man. And then I just started going back to thinking about how I was born premature, and how like that's why I really want to do the March of the Dimes, because only 10% survive. Like my life does not have to be. I do not have to exist. I do not have to still be here. I could definitely have a lot of other issues besides being small or petite. That is not a big deal for me. I got like one crooked finger, and then when I get my nails done, they your nail. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just a little slanted, but it is what it is. You know, your nail. It's your nail. Yep, paint it, please. Thank you. And yeah, so like y'all, like I remember that. I remember, enduring, and I talked about this a little bit, and I will be sharing more about it because I get it. I get why I have to share. I get why I even more so have to be more transparent. God was like, you wrote Don't Muzzle Your Message, and you shared a little bit. I shared about, I think, being bullied in Don't Muzzle Your Message as well, and why I was afraid to speak, and why I did not speak up, and all of that, because believe it or not, y'all, I was not as confident to speak my whole life. I wasn't. Always an extrovert, but wasn't always confident. But yeah, he was like, "You're still muzzled." He told me that maybe a year or so ago, and I was like, "What?" Like after the book launch, like what? I just produced the book because God gave me the title before I even wrote a sentence. And I'm like, I just produced a book called Don't Muzzle Your Message, and you gonna tell me I'm still muzzled? Like I shared stuff. You mean to tell me I'm still muzzled. He was like, absolutely. He ain't say absolutely, but that's how I took it. Because that's how I speak. Absolutely, positively. You're still muzzled. You can still go deeper. And so lately I made the decision to go deeper and to share how I've been, verbally abused and like, I accepted people to speak to me in ways that I just wasn't worthy of. And a lot of that begins to damper on your confidence and begins to lock up your mouth. You after a while you start, especially if like they're like verbally abusing you, and it's like, okay, the more you talk, the more they speak back in a way that you're not deserving of. So you start like, I'm just not gonna say anything, because if I don't say anything, then they won't say anything, and then I won't hurt, you know? And so it's a whole strategy of the enemy. He has a whole scheme to how he silences us, right? And so God was like, you got to start talking about it, because again, like I said, transparency heals, right? So what it does is when I say it gives another woman the courage to say me too, because it's easier to say me too, and it's harder to say I. It's harder to be the first one to be vulnerable enough to say that I was verbally abused. I've experienced verbal abuse over a series of years, and I've recently began to really take a stand and refuse to be silent, because my voice needs to be heard. All of it. I got to be authentic, and I got to be transparent, because there's women that's going to relate to me, that's been there, and they're going to get inspired and motivated by my courage and my bravery. So I have to show up for them. I have to show up for you. I don't know if that's you, but I have to show up for you. I have to show up for my tribe. And I, for many years, was talking about, speakers that I work with, they can come to a point where they admit they also have felt worthless, powerless, and voiceless. I've been saying it was on my website, and I didn't know all of what God was unfolding, because I felt that way. I felt worthless before. I felt worthless. I know what it feels like to feel like, or question whether or not you have any worth. That's why I started out as a purpose coach, because God had me in years, a long season of understanding the importance of purpose and that I have it, right? And so when you begin to use your message or share your message, it gives purpose to all of that pain. And pain, purpose is able to recycle the pain and use it for good, right? How God will come in and he'll use all things he'll use all things for our good. Those who are called according to his purpose and that love him, right? All of it, purpose will not leave one piece out. It won't will leave one part out. I'm telling you. So I'm gonna go to these comments. Um, let me see, and then I'll give y'all the last point. I'm sorry that Instagram is missing this good, but hey, it is what it is, right? All right. So Valerie says, you truly are a coach. I'm older, but if people get you while they're young, they would get this good stuff early. Thank you, Valerie. I absolutely love you. Yes. It's important. It's important. And then Faith Hills, shout out to the new last name. Congratulations again. She says, yes, LOL. And hey, T Dana. I sing a little bit. I'm muzzled in that area. God was talking to me about it. I've been trying, y'all. I've been trying to get over the fear of singing. I've been trying. Um, and then Tanya Simpson is here. Hey, hey, girl. Hey, Speaker Fam. Hey, Speaker Fam. And then Lala says, very powerful words. Thank you. There's power in our words, because I've seen words tear people down. I've seen words tear me down. I've seen the effects of words, but I've also seen words build people up. And so that's why I'm very passionate, even the more, about speaking, about unlocking you guys' speakers' authentic voice. It's time for you to be heard. So you got to get booked to speak, but this is what you need. So before you get booked to speak. So, alrighty. Just like in the comments. Y'all ready for the third point? So far, number 1 was you need authenticity. Number 2 was you need transparency. And number 3 is you need specialty. You need your specialty. So a common thing is that I ask speakers, I say, what are your specialties? What are your top 3 specialty speaking topics that you talk about over and over and over again that people can know you for, that you can begin to build a verbal brand, right? People begin to know and think of you when these topics come up. And they usually give me an answer, but they're thinking about it on the spot. They never really took any time to really think about it, really be sure about it. And I created a worksheet bundle called the Specialized Speaker Worksheet Bundle that's also in the Speaker Goals Market, right? And inside this bundle, it literally is what I used to tell clients, hey, take a notebook out, get a pen. And I used to have them create the worksheet in their own notebook. But I decided to create this worksheet bundle so that y'all could just get it. Y'all could just get it, right? And I added instructions, what I would literally, so it's like coaching in a worksheet bundle, right? And so we literally walk through all of the topics, everything that you pretty much could talk about. And then we condense it into 3 categories. And those 3 categories are what I like to call your specialty speaking topics. Okay, I call it your passion categories because those are the things that you can talk about, you're most passionate about, and you can talk about over and over and over again without getting tired about speaking about it. And that's important. That's important. And so that helps you also begin to get booked because people can reach out to you. They might book you based off of word of mouth because they know, oh, these are the things. They can keep 3 things in their mind. According to psychologists, there's like a certain capacity that we can remember, and 3 is a good number. That's why I also say, have 3 points, because threes, for whatever reason, it's easier to remember. Okay, so that's why we have first one is authenticity, second one transparency, last thing that you need is specialty. Okay, but you definitely want to specialize. You don't want to just be a speaker that talks about everything, because there's every speaker. There's a lot of speakers who just show up and speak about anything. What you need, I got you. I can speak. I'm ready. No, you need to show up as the specialist of your message, and that will make all of the difference. You want more clients? Show up as the specialist. Show up as the specialist. And so I can go a little bit more in depth with that, but y'all can catch a couple of the other lives. I've been talking about the importance of, specializing and being the specialist of your message. But I'll be hosting, like I told you guys, a group strategy session, and it's called Specialize and Speak. It's going down, and we are going to walk through that same exact worksheet bundle. You can buy the worksheet bundle separately, but it is included when you sign up for Specialize and Speak. So I will give it to you if you sign up for Specialize and Speak. So you'll be able to get your top 3 speaker specialties. You'll also be able to identify your specialty topics. You'll also be able to clarify your message, because you might have some sort of an idea about it, but when you know your specialties, it's easier to hone in on your message. So that's like step 1. And then once you know your specialties, you clarify your message, it's then easier to create a signature speech. Okay? And so those are the 3 different things that we're going to do during Specialize and Speak on November 17th, and I want to see you there. I want you to be in the room. Again, if you put hashtag Specialize and Speak in the comments, I will send you $100 off. $100 off. Okay? If Specialize and Speak is something that it's just too high level for you, you don't really want to do that much work as a speaker just yet, for whatever reason. I will be doing a workshop called 8 Essentials Every Speaker Should Have. I'll be doing it again, and it lists 8 things that we discussed. 8 things that every speaker should have. There's a couple people that have gone through the workshop. I think Ciara J has gone through it. Valerie has gone through it. My page is not up to see who else is here, but they've gone through that workshop. It's absolutely phenomenal. That's on a different investment, so that's like only $27, I believe, currently. It's only $27 for that workshop. And Specialize and Speak is a group strategy session. So it's not the same. It's not a work. That's a workshop. It's a group strategy session. But if you write the number 8 in the comments, I'll give you more information for when the next 8 Essentials Every Speaker Should Have workshop will be. But that's the 2 things. Only 2 things. Hey, 8 Essentials Every Speaker Should Have. You get a checklist for that, and you get the live workshop. And then there's Specialize and Speak, which is what you'll get the most from, you'll benefit the most from, is on November 17th. You write hashtag Specialize and Speak in the comments, and you will get $100 off. Okay? But that's what you need to do to let me know that you're interested. All right, all right, all right. But I hope to see you guys at Specialize and Speak on November 17th. That's around the corner, y'all. And we can always work one-on-one if that's what you decide, but the group setting is amazing, and both of them you get the group setting. I think one of the 8 Essentials Every Speakers Should Have workshop, we were there for a couple of hours, but it's because I had the time. So we were just hanging out and talking, and I was just like, yeah, this is so I knew I needed to build the Speaker Goals tribe, because I'm like, yeah, they don't like to leave, and they like this community setting. So that's why I created that. But I definitely want to see you guys at Specialize and Speak. Any comments, questions, or concerns before I go? I'm so sorry to Instagram. I'm going to have to apologize to them. Not my fault. It's not. Any questions, comments, concerns? Any questions, comments, concerns? Any questions, comments, or concerns? Feedback? Anything, anything, anything? Any great takeaways? But yes, y'all. So here's the 3 points one more time. Share this out, share this out, share this out. I didn't even share this in the Speaker Goes Lounge. I forgot. I'm going to share it in the Speaker Goes Lounge. First one that you need is authenticity. Second one is transparency. And third is specialty. And you can get the free checklist in the Speaker Goes Market too. It's called the Speaker Startup Checklist. Go check out the Speaker Goes Market, period, because we got some good stuff in there. There's a couple of things you can go in there and grab. All right, I don't think I see any questions, comments. Mm-mm-mm. I don't think so. Thank you for the hearts. I see the heart. And I'm learning, y'all, to be more authentic, to be more transparent. And I'm standing in my specialty. It's such a beautiful thing to stand in your specialty. Alrighty, so I'm going to go. Again, y'all, I am Shanae. I'm a speaking coach and brand strategist for speakers, and I absolutely love to help speakers unlock their authentic voice so that they can so that they can begin to build a brand with their words and show up as a specialist of their message. Okay? that's me. That's who I am. Stay connected. Follow me on Instagram at I am Ciara Shanae. And I will be outie 5:30. Alrighty. Talk to you guys later. Bye. Do, 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 do.